Hey guys, what's up? It's DC. Look, I know that you want the best for your family, and I do too. America is fighting against dangerous chemicals in our foods, and Backyard Butchers is a top healthy pick for 2025. So see why 600,000 Americans trust the Backyard Butchers. Guys, I am talking straight U.S. born and raised beef right out of those green pastures in Texas. They're faith-based, American first founders. They work directly with local ranchers to bring you wholesome meats for you and your entire family. No overseas mystery meat, no hormones, no preservatives, just pure top quality beef the way it should be. So whether you choose the popular Backyard Box or a customer favorite Steakhouse Reserve Box, hey, you'll be eating right. And here's the best part. If you subscribe today, they'll make sure you get your choice of 2 10-ounce ribeyes or 2 pounds of Wagyu ground beef. And it's absolutely free. Plus, if you use my promo code DCTV, at backyardbutchers.com for 30% off your subscription. You know I'm always trying to hook y'all up, but 30%, I'm really in my bag. Look, that's backyardbutchers.com. Hit that promo code, guys. 30% off of some of the best meat you're ever going to taste. The real deal. Let's go. All right, guys. I'm at the Ultimate Fighter. We're about ready to pick fights for next week's fights. But before, I cannot not talk about all the news that broke last night. Dana White announced fight after fight after fight last night. One being that Diego Lopez is now fighting against Alexander Volkanovski for the featherweight championship of the world, not the interim, full featherweight title, because the champ Ilia Topuria is moving up to 155 pounds full time. Guys, this is massive news. Massive news in the world of mixed martial arts, because very rarely do you get a champion that walks away from his weight class and says, I'm done with it. I don't want to have an interim title. I just want to give the belt up. I'm going to go up full time. I'm moving. John Jones did it. George St. Pierre did it. Now Ilia Topuria is doing it. Here's the difference. Those guys all had guaranteed title fights as they went up in weight class. Ilia does not have that. What Ilia is saying, or at least according to the boss, is that he can't make the weight anymore, and that his legacy has been defined already. Look, man, Ilia Topuria has become the champion and only defended the belt one time. Generally, when someone says my legacy is defined after one title defense, we would laugh at him. But how do you laugh at Topuria when he beat Alexander Volkanovski to become the world champion by knockout? Then he beats Max Holloway to defend and keep that world championship by knockout. So his process is a little bit shortened, because we are all in agreement that there are 3 guys in consideration as the greatest featherweight of all time. He beat 2 in 1 calendar year. And that is why I believe he should have been the fighter of the year last year. Those 2 wins were insane in terms of 12 months. But he's moving up. Lopez is fighting Volk. To me, that's the biggest news. There's a lot of news at 170, but the implications at 145 and at 155 are massive now, because we didn't hear that Topuria has a title fight. He has been calling out Islam Makhachev. He has been saying he's the guy to beat him. He is saying that he's the one that can go up there and beat the guy that has proven to this point unbeatable outside of Adriano Martins catching him with a punch that knocked him out. How do you move up? You know what's crazy is that when you're Ilia and you have a star quality about you, you seem like you can sell out a 75,000 seat Santiago Bernabeu in Madrid. You have the option to say, hey, I'm going to make these guys fight for an interim title. The UFC would not have forced him to vacate. He made that decision on his own. But it is kind of par for the course when you think about Ilia Topuria. He really does carry himself like a politician, right? Well-dressed, well-spoken, very respectful of mixed martial arts. He seems to do all the right things. And in this instance, most would believe that he's doing the right thing because he's not going to hold up the entire division. But for me, I got to be honest, I would have been a little selfish in this situation, because What if he loses? What if he does earn a title fight? And what if he loses? Now he's not even the featherweight champion anymore. Should have held on to the belt, waited. Lopez and Volkanovski would have gladly fought for an interim championship. You go out there with nothing to lose. You're playing with house's money. We saw so many guys do that before, and I don't know that they had the same type of leverage that Ilia Topuria has right now, because he seems to be one of those guys that is on the verge of becoming a champion. So what's next for Topuria? I believe, and I'm not talking from any knowledge, I believe it's Charles Oliveira. And let me tell you why. You match up Topuria and Oliveira. They fight relatively soon. Islam is in Ramadan. They don't want to fight in Ramadan. He doesn't want to train in Ramadan. Obviously, you guys know Ramadan, from the moment the sun comes up to when the sun sets, these guys can't eat, can't drink, they can't take in anything. So training is almost impossible. So that pushes Makhachev back to the end of Ramadan, right? It would seem as though Makhachev will be ready to fight by October in Abu Dhabi. And if he is, you match Ilia versus Oliveira early, sometime in the spring. You make them fight with the guarantee that one of these guys gets a title fight. Because right now it's Charles. Charles is next. But when you introduce Topuria into the equation, things get a little bit convoluted and a little bit unsure. It's not as defined as it might have been before, because Ilia's looked so good in his time at featherweight. So I say you match these two dudes up. Guys, every May, we tend to struggle a little bit for a main event, right? A couple years ago, we watched Amanda Nunes fight against Irene Aldana in Canada. Last year, we had Cejudo and Aljamain Sterling in New Jersey. In May, there's usually a pay-per-view that doesn't have the biggest names. This is one of those fights that you could do as a pay-per-view main event that doesn't even need a title. If you do Topuria versus Charles Oliveira, everybody taps it. Everybody taps it. It's an amazing fight, and I believe it would truly bring some stability to what now is going to be the lightweight division. Makhachev doesn't seem to want to fight him right now. His manager, Rizvan Magomedov, said he needs to fight a real lightweight. Put him against Charles. I feel like that's Rizvan going, hey, I'm taking you behind the curtain a little bit. I'm letting you know what we're thinking and what we are hearing. It's clues. It's all clues. Hell, Diego Lopez gave us a clue a few weeks ago that he was fighting a wrestler by being in the Oklahoma State wrestling room. So he gave us a clue. We got to start paying attention. We got to start paying attention to what these guys and these gals are telling us and showing us as they prepare themselves for these fights. This is massive news, though. Topuria at 155 full-time is real. And it has the potential to be a real problem for a lot of lightweights in the UFC. Put him with Charles. Charles versus Topuria with the champion, a guaranteed title fight in Abu Dhabi against the champ Islam Makhachev. Now at 145, it leaves the belt up for grabs. Volkanovski is the right guy to be fighting for the belt, even though he's 1-3 in his last 4 fights. And Diego Lopez is an assassin. I don't know that I've ever seen anybody beat Brian Ortega worse, outside of Max Holloway. He beat him bad. He beat him up the entirety of that fight. Maybe he didn't finish him, but he dominated Brian Ortega and earned a chance as a title. Here's where the issue becomes for me. I don't know that Volkanovski at 1-3 in his last 4 isn't supposed to elevate this kid. Because if Volk loses, now you got a legitimate star in Diego Lopez because he just beat one of the 3 greatest featherweights of all time. But if he wins, now you don't really lose anything with a champion leaving the weight because you still got a guy that has been really tied to 145 in terms of Volkanovski. So it really feels like a win-win situation for the UFC. And it's in Miami, right? It's in Miami. Beautiful town, beautiful fight city, and some of the hottest crowds that we fight in front of over the course of the UFC calendar. So that works. That works. But man, it really does kind of suck because I was looking forward to Lopez versus Ilia. I was looking forward to Ilia versus Ilia. There were so many young guys that we could have watched him fight against over the course of his championship reign. Bilal Muhammad is fighting against Jack Della Maddalena. Jack Della Maddalena has an entire country behind him. He is the type of guy that if you can get a belt on him, could become a true international superstar. The boss last night was having a good time on that live. There were 40,000 people watching that Instagram live. That's a nuts. That is an insane number for a person to be doing an Instagram live. Dana did it, announced all those fights, and I was like, hey, the Pitbull brothers are now in the UFC. Dude, it was a massive night for news from the UFC. We get some big title fights, but I'm excited. I'm excited about Ilia at 155, but he's kind of small, honestly. He's kind of a smaller guy. I want to see how big he gets as he has now made this move up to 155 full time. Remember, Poirier was a 45-pounder. He went up. He's huge now. Holloway now is 145 full time, and so is Ilia Topuria. Massive news, big time fights coming in the UFC, and I got to get back to work. The Ultimate Fighter doesn't stop. You want to take a look around the gym? Let me show you guys. Hey, you want to see the Ultimate Fighter gym and how this works? Oh, here we go. We got Bob and Jake working back here. We got Rosendo. Look, this is the UFC PI. This is the Apex. We're getting ready to pick fights, guys. Always behind the scenes. I give you what you want, what you need. Beowulf, what a beautiful camera you got. Let's go. Guys, until next time, like, subscribe, tell a friend that DC's got a YouTube channel and that I'm doing stuff like this and taking you behind the scenes at the UFC. Until next time, peace.